United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone at home. Public comment time. Anybody have anything? Olga, you have anything? Sir, do you have anything? Yes? You have nothing? All right, okay. Well, since there's no public comment, I'm going to ask you young gentlemen that came in, well, why are you here? Not that you can't be here. Why are you here?
I'm Kieran. I'm actually here for my government class at school. I attend Suffern High School as an out-of-district student. And for graduation requirements, you have to attend 3 board meetings per quarter. And it just happened to be one of my last ones for the year, actually, that I needed to attend.
Okay.
So I'm very grateful to be here. And thank you.
You want to take my place tonight?
Your school is smart to have that in their curriculum. Very good.
It wasn't long ago, we had the mayor of Suffern here. I think he was here because his son is on our police department, or
I think so. I think you're right.
mayor of Suffern, is his son in the police department? Okay, this was maybe a couple of years ago that he was here. Yeah, because I think when we swore him in here. What's the mayor's?
Michael Curley, I think.
Probably was the previous one.
Anyway, is there?
I'm here for the Citizen to the Community Merit Act requirement.
Great. Okay, if you guys have any questions as we go through the meeting, just please feel free to ask. Stop us just a minute, what is he talking about? And you have a copy of the agenda? Okay, Jim, I just went through public comment. You have anything? No? Okay. Approval of the minutes. I have the minutes of the March 13th meeting.
Hey, Bob.
Sir.
I just have Rich do a test on his mic really quick. It's very, very loud.
Hello, everybody.
Back the mic up a bit.
What am I doing?
Back it up a little bit. You're too loud, I guess.
Amplify. I think back it up.
Okay, like put it like. Do you want it, Justin? Is that far enough?
Is that an individual adjustment?
It's not that.
Am I too loud now? Am I all right? Am I too loud now?
Good.
Most people at home want to mute me anyway. Feel free to do it.
Okay, I'll do that right now.
Okay, anyway, I need a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Communications. Our town historian will be doing a presentation of local women's history at the Warner Sisters. It'll be about the Warner Sisters from Constitution Island. This is going to be Saturday, April the 1st, excuse me, at 2 p.m. Saturday, April the 1st, 2 p.m. Ronnie Coffey will be there and doing a presentation. They asked her to do the history of Constitution Island. And nobody is going to want to hear this, but please be advised, the second stage of work on Route 9W over Popolopo Bridge Creek is scheduled to start on April the 10th. And completion date is anticipated July the 31st.
No way.
2 southbound lanes of 9W will be closed.
Can we run a bet on that, or is that illegal? Can we run a bet on that and over under?
23 or 24?
Yeah.
Wow. I have a lengthy letter from the Orange County District Attorney, which I'll make available to the board. One part of it is it's about avoiding conflicts of interest. And to prevent these issues, it's recommended that municipalities in Orange County create and empower strong ethics boards and enact local statutes and rules mandating the disclosure of businesses, properties owned by municipal officials in municipalities where they serve. So it's a great thing we got that ethics committee going, and that's right in line with what the district attorney's asking for. Now, probably no one knows this place, but the state DOT is going to start design phase on a project to replace the culvert carrying 218 over Crow's Neck Brook. Do you know where that is?
Right at the town line, basically.
You know where it is, huh? I figured if anybody knew where it was, you would know. I guess they're going to do some work on the culvert there. In March of 2024 or 25, so that's way off, but I just thought when I saw that Crow's Nest Brook, that some people might,
I would think that would require the full closure of Route 218 to do that.
yeah. Okay, I transferred $568,176 from the consolidated account to the accounts payable. Some of the big items are Comp Alliance, New York Assessment, Workman's Comp, $32,734. Fort Montgomery Fire Department Budget Funds Allocation, $450,120. J-Class Motor Corporation for a sewer truck, $25,000. Rockland County Solid Waste for hauling, $10,262. Lankin Tully for fire inspections, water tank engineering, $5,757. Any questions on those items? Okay. Board liaison reports. We'll start with Councilman Sullivan.
Thank you. Too long-winded tonight. First and foremost, congratulations to Jim DeSalvo and Jim Ramus on winning seats on the village board. You take your oath starting April 1st, is that correct, Jim? Congratulations. I would also like to congratulate Brian Elwood for 8 years of service on the village board, and Regina Taylor for several decades of service at the village of Highland Falls. They are all gems to work with. I wish them well, and I know that both of them have a lot to contribute to the community one way or another. The ZBA did not meet this month. We have, well, we'll talk about it later on. The zoning board of appeals meets if the zoning board of appeals meets during the month of April, I will announce at the next meeting. It's always the third Wednesday of the month, here at Town Hall at 7 p.m. Dean is doing planning board. I haven't attended their meetings, so I have very little to say about that, but related to them with the building department, some emails were circulated over the weekend discussing the activity at 915 Route 9W in Fort Montgomery. The owner of that property has an appearance ticket before the court in April, along with many advisory notices and a stop work order. Some questions arose over the jurisdiction of imposing an erosion control plan. This is normally done by the planning board, which only meets once a month, and by the time their engineer reviews it, it might possibly take 2 months before a situation becomes a reality with remedy. Therefore, on November 23, when all the trees were cut down in one day, and water was flowing onto Route 9W on Christmas Eve to the point where DOT dedicated a whole crew to that spot for the whole day because of icing, building department, along with the town engineer, who assists the building department, had a temporary emergency erosion plan. We knew that would transition to the planning board, and I was getting 15 phone calls a day from people about what's going on in that property, and there was a sense of urgency to take action, so we did. Fire inspections, over the last 2 years, there have been 268 fire inspections, 43 of which have failed. Even after repeat, even after repeated to try and allow remedy, Bob and Ty may recall, I'm sure Justin does too, a few years ago, we had a resolution which allowed for those fire inspections who either didn't pay their fees or did not resolve their issues to have the cost of said resolutions of issues be applied to their taxes. At this point with these 43, this is going on for a long time. We may have to up our game in whatever way that you would think would be prudent, Justin, so. But we've been on top of it for the last 2 years. It's been an aggressive effort by the building department to do that. On the sewer, you all should have gotten the email where I showed you pictures and demonstrated that the roof and the interior ceiling at the Headworks building are completed. They were completed in 1 day. I said it would take me 2 days to do the RFP and 1 day to do the work. That was done by Jack McCarthy Carpentry. I would like to thank that company for the good work they did, being punctual and also being dependable. They did have to move some electric conduit, and they taped the joints at my request, so there'll be a little bit of extra expense. That whole bill will be less than half of what the next closest submitter was. That was a home run. The DEC inspection we had last month in February from, I think Bob's been getting them, and I communicate with most everybody. I've had communication with Mr. Fung, who wanted us to demonstrate that the roof has been replaced, which it is. He wants MSDS sheets on the Stay Flock 270 that we use as a polymer for our belt press. Jimmy down at the plant is taking care of that. And he wants us to demonstrate which mechanism we are going to have as an alarm down at the plant in the event of failure. So what I think we're gonna do, we haven't worked it out quite yet, is if the electric goes out, just like at the pump stations, to have Jimmy be notified. Because here's the deal. The plant is at an elevation of 7 feet above sea level. The water is going to keep coming no matter what alarms you put there. The water's coming, and it's designed mechanically to not overflow unless there's more than 200,000 gallons a day. So what I'm proposing, we'll have to bring John O'Rourke in on this, is just put a simple dialer that if the electric goes out, that Jimmy's notified, or the police, so that we can do whatever we're going to do, which is not much. The standby generator comes on automatically, and that has been functioning fine. If they want it, we'll give it to them. On a separate note, the EPA inspection, and I know the village had one recently. They've never had one before, neither have we, but is that ongoing project has to be submitted by the end of March. The engineer has assumed a limited role in this one, so a little of this falls on me. I have 3 more days to do what I have to do. I'm selling a house and emptying the contents, so I just haven't had the time. I'll get down there. It'll be done before March 31st, and I think that'll take care of everything. There was an empty propane tank at Pump Station 2 at Corbin Hill that they wanted removed, and it's been there for about 1.5 years. I was down there on Saturday, and the thing is removed. Jimmy didn't know who took it. Maybe the company that owned it took it, but it's not there. So someone with a magic wand took care of that one. Water, I mentioned last meeting that I spent the morning up at the highway garage with Gary and Tiffany, and Joey DeWitt was up there a few weeks ago. We had a pretty intense interaction helping everybody to understand just what encoders are. Everybody's calling it an encode reader. It's an encoder is what it is. Which ones work, which ones don't. The Verizon CDMA cellular transmitters that no longer function because of 3G to 5G were shown. The transmitters, which do function with a 10-year guarantee, were shown. And a radio reader, which we're getting away from because we have a computer that we were going to get rid of, that the IT reassembled, because it's the only thing that will communicate with the Trimble. So like it or not, there's 117 radio readers left. They're going to have to be replaced by cellular intelligently with a 10-year guarantee, and that's what we'll have to do that. And we have money in the budget to do that as time goes on. And it was clear, like even talking with Kelly, Like she didn't know what an encoder was or a transmitter. She takes care of the spreadsheets. We're gonna do one more meeting and have everybody, and I'm gonna bring a set of Legos and show everybody how all this stuff works once and for all, so that everybody understands and understand the spreadsheets. And we did finally remedy the Holiday Inn. It was a transposition of two numbers. The Edmonds program has difficulty reading anything with 9 digits. We got that to work. The Holiday Inn is reading accurately, I'm glad to say. And during the month of February, just letting everyone know, we averaged 105,000 gallons a day of water use on average. Down at Garrison Pond, and Bob, and not everybody has seen this, I live there, have all my life. I'm pretty familiar with the water level of it. I'm being flooded to the point where I can't cut the grass anymore, and there's stop logs in down at the dam. When they treat the lake, they want you to raise the water level for when they treat the lake. What I am asking is for it to be dropped 3 inches, and then after they treat it the first time, lowered another 2. Because I'm being invaded by Japanese. Now, I think I'm the only one on the lake that's affected at that level. So I can't walk down there anymore. That's just something I'm kind of hope that we can do, because historically it's about 5 inches lower now, or higher now, than it has been. But the swan is on the nest. I would recommend doing nothing until her eggs hatch, which would be on April 15th, around that time, because she went on the nest a month early this year. She normally hatches on Mother's Day. My projection is tax day is when she's going to have her young ones. You read off about the history, so I'm not going to read off that. And just one final note, not to cut into Dean's thunder with recreation, but I don't get to go to many recreation events. I did go last Wednesday to the final basketball championship, where I think it was the Bulls played, I don't remember who they played, but the Bulls won. Congratulations to them. They had a good year. It was a pleasure to go to that, and that was the only one I made this year, and that's my report.
Thank you. For the benefit of our young scout and our student, each of the 4 councilmen have a department that they're liaison to. Obviously, water, sewer, planning. No, it used to be planning board. Anyway, they all have a liaison. So at each meeting, they report. They do great reports, and the people at home and people that come to the meetings can learn a lot about their town just by listening to their reports. So as we go along here, you'll be able to see very clearly who is liaison to who. And Councilman King is going to tell us what he does.
All right. So good evening, everyone, and good evening, everyone at home. I'm going to start with saying appreciation out to the police department. I've been seeing a lot of presence out there, not that I hadn't seen it before, but it seems to be heavier for some reason. 293, I think it is out there. Round Pond, that's 293, right? And then 9W. Of course, we got that heavy traffic area right there in front of the elementary school. Keep up the good work there. But more so out past Stony Gate, I've been seeing them, where they had the accident at. So keep up the great work in the police department there, Chief. So Women's History Month, we're coming to the tail end of Women's History Month. And tomorrow is the Town of Highlands program that we're going to do at the library at 4:30 p.m. So everyone's welcome. Come on out. We got 6 phenomenal speakers, 2 of which come from West Point, and the others from locally here. And but I tell you what, you don't want to miss it. So 4:30 p.m. Got some snacks. So for those who come out of school or work hungry, we'll be able to give you something to eat. Found out that our Latin speakers by trade need some more English as a second language. You know, we were doing English as a second language as a service to the community in the library, and then we got hit with the pandemic, and we had to stop. But, you know, the consequence of that is that we got folks that reside amongst us that want to learn English, they just don't know how to get after it. So what we did in the past is partner people who wanted to learn Spanish with people who wanted to learn English. And we had a couple of folks from West Point that could speak in between, right? And so if we can get any volunteers out there in the community to help us, we want to start that program back up again. Veterans, I've been meeting weekly with veterans since the last 3 weeks. And what's come out of that is folks asking questions about how to serve post-military, meaning once we transition into civilian life, what are some of the things we can do? And one idea that's coming out of that, we have a person that's, very handy with their hands, and he wants to teach carpentry for free. I mean, he just want to do it as a community service. And so we're figuring out how to put that program together and see if we can offer that as a way just for people to come out and learn some skills. More to follow. I don't know if Joe's going to talk about this, community wellness, but there's a family wellness conference coming up on April 22nd at the intermediate school. You going to hit that one, Joe?
No, hit it more, please.
So, 8:30
I was going to
a.m.
jump on you with the Women's
Well, tag
History
team that.
Month, but
So 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., April 22nd at the intermediate school. There is a family wellness conference, and this is open to all 8th through 12th grade students and their parents or guardians. There'll be a light breakfast and lunch provided, but this is focused on covering substance use, mental health, and media. So we want to highly encourage folks to take advantage of that. And subject to any question, that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman DeWitt.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everybody. Saturday, I went to the school presentation about their proposed spending, the multi-million-dollar spending to improve our school system. That vote is coming up tomorrow, starting at 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., and that vote's taking place at the intermediate school here on Mountain Avenue. The key thing they wanted to remind everybody is please vote yes, and they're saying it will not affect our taxes at all. If this thing does not get passed, there is a lot of spending in the school infrastructure that needs to happen. And if the vote tomorrow doesn't get passed to spend I think it's 34 million, right? 44 million, thank you, MJ. Then that money's gonna come out of the taxpayers' money directly. So again, get out to vote tomorrow and support. I have not seen any reason to not vote yes for this project. Again, it's multiple grants and state funded and federal funding, I believe, too. Just
I
state.
think there's 87 cents per dollar. That will be-
82.5, I think it is. I'm sorry, I wrote, it's written down somewhere, but yeah, it's
And then
a considerable amount.
That's a lot of money.
And then they had some money that they had in the reserve fund that'll make up for the difference. 8 million, right? Okay, thank you again, MJ. So again, tomorrow, 6 to 9, get out there and vote for the schools. Again, we improve our schools, we improve our community, and then students like this will have other reasons to come, and you can come and fight. Tell them, spend the money, spend the money. Olga, I'm going to, again, going back, I know we got, Ty just mentioned about the wellness conference, but also on April 22nd is Earth Day. Remind me again where the Earth Day event's taking place?
Library?
At the library, and from noon?
No, 10:30 to 1:30.
10:30 to 1:30, and that's an Earth Day presentation at the library. So if you're out and about doing all the events in town, stop by the library and support us environmentally. And Olga, anything else you want me to say about it, or you want to say, okay? And the reason I come to you is because I want to mention that tomorrow, thanks to Olga and her work trying to grab a $5,000 environmental grant that is floating out there, we're having we're meeting with a consultant tomorrow to look at all our town buildings to see what we can do to improve their environmental impact here on the community and the cost to running them. So hopefully we could, that grant deadline's coming up on April 7th, so we got some hustling to do, and I just want to again thanks Olga for bringing it to the table and making us move forward, and we'll see how we do tomorrow, and by the next meeting maybe we'll have something more to report on that. The seniors are having their first luncheon, or first meeting tomorrow in a long time, and that's at 1 o'clock at the senior center. So please feel free. It's a senior lunch again, the senior center here in Highland Falls. Ty told you about the Women's History Month tomorrow at 4:30. That should be a really good presentation honoring 6 local women and their what their contribution to the time, talent to their organizations, their community, and their nation. Just want to reiterate, thanks again for bringing that up. Coming up on April 15th from 8 to noon is, again, the Town of Highlands Electronic Waste Event, and that's happening at Lot 2, which is opposite Sacred Heart Church here in the village. And again, that's as we've told you in the past, you can't put your TVs to the curb and other electronic appliances to the curb. They're not recyclable in our regular recycling process, and they're not good for the landfills. And they take up a lot of space, they take up a lot of weight, which we pay by the ton. So again, we had a really good successful event last year, so I'm encouraging you got something electronic to throw away, bring it up to the village from 8 to noon, Lot 2 on Saturday, April 15th. There's information on the Town of Highlands website, or you can always call the Highway Department too if you have any questions about that. On a couple of notes, a concerned citizen spoke to me lately about the beat-upness of Mine Road, probably left over from plow season, but I've been told that it's on the spring list for some paving repairs. And obviously, it's going to be probably closed soon too for, summer training in the next few months. So hopefully that work will be done. Also, another concerned citizen questioned about our $2,200 spending on what they thought was a police car. As MJ reminds me, she can only print the information that she acquires, and she does a great job. But that particular item it kind of looked like we spent $2,200 on a police car for tires. Well, with the thanks of Kelly Pecoraro and informing me more, I believe you purchased a set of 12 tires for the police cars from Corsi Tires. Got a really good deal. I think it came out to about $168 a tire. And if you look on Tire Rack, that's still $35 cheaper than what they charge. So actually, it was a really good deal. I don't know. You doing all 12 tires for all the 3 police cars, or?
If it's what you're talking about, I believe that was all snow tires for
Okay.
For 3 of the cars.
For 3 of the cars. So again, I just want to remind everybody, we work hard to spend your money correctly and with transparency. The supervisor works really hard at keeping the budget in line, and as do all our department heads. And, we really do work responsibly. But it doesn't mean if you have a question about something, please bring it to our attention. We're always happy to tell people in the community how we're spending your money. So I want to thank to those people that spoke up with their concerns. Last couple of things, there's a pocketbook bingo coming up at the American Legion Hall on Wednesday, April 12th at 6 p.m. You can contact the center here in Highland Falls for more information. It could be a fun night out, so feel free to give the center a call and get involved. You want to have a fun night out playing bingo. Last but not least, as promised, to let you know regarding energy rates, as of today, the O&R kilowatt hour rate was 3.85 cents per kilowatt hour. Again, congrats to O&R. It is a record low. And as the experts around the program have told me, again, we had a very mild winter in the Northeast, as did other parts of the world, and energy demand turned out to be low, which means demand's low, prices go down. So again, for people that are watching their opt-in, opt-out options for the CCA, the rate again as of today was 3.85 cents a kilowatt hour. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Yeager?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few notes here from the Ambulance and Planning Board, and then several from Rec Department. As everybody knows, the fly car has finally arrived, yet it has not moved from its spot yet in front of the ambulance corps, but that's due to getting it registered and some other radios and optional equipment installed into it until that time, which should hopefully be in about a week or so, or maybe two, but hopefully sooner than later, so we can put that to use and helps out our community a great deal. The planning board was kind of quiet the night I attended. Bear Mountain Pizza was there. They were told of some issues they need to take care of internally in order to get back in there and start doing businesses again. But in the meantime, they do have a food truck that's out there currently trying to support their business. So that's all we have for the planning board that went on that night. But one note I do, pass on about the planning board, we're a town that's not, from what I understand, we're considered difficult to work with, but I don't think we would be difficult to work with. I think folks just need to realize, if you follow the rules, as with some issues that we've had on 9W, things will work itself out. A lot of what I hear is the rules don't, to people, they don't apply. But, it's fair across the board, and it needs to be that way. Not this board, but across the landscape of other folks. So just keep that in mind. We're not difficult to deal with, but you just need to do your due diligence and follow the rules as well, and things will move along smoothly. So there's on the planning board. And then we have for the ambulance corps. For the rec department, the big one coming up this Saturday will be at Roe Park is the annual Easter egg hunt. Starts at 10 a.m. and I believe it's rain or shine, but if it's a real total washout, I'm sure there'll be a rain date for that. But it's always a fun event for the kids, so bring them out there. Usually the Easter Bunny's there, shows up, says hello, so take pictures. Porta potties will be also being delivered to the parks come April 1st, that's it's a good thing to have and nice to have, especially for you runners out there. And then this past week, as Richie alluded to, basketball finished up this past week with the 10-year-old All-Star game, and then we also had the 11 to 13-year-old championship game, which was the Bulls beating out the Thunder in a great championship match. So
Thank you. I couldn't remember the Thunder. Sorry, Thunder.
that's okay. Other than that, the sign-ups continue for T-ball and coach pitch baseball, ponytail, and Little League, and that'll continue through next week. Opening day is scheduled for April 29th, and it'll be for both, for ponytail and Little League on the same day. I believe we have a parade and so forth prior to that. So it's a big moment for everybody that day. Flag football has been approved through the NFL flag, and signups continue through April. Boys and girls lacrosse are gearing up for their spring sessions. Community CPR class is scheduled for April 14th. Opening over 13 open gym at Highland Falls Intermediate School will also start in the beginning of April. There is also a movie night planned at the Highland Falls Library on April 4th. We're also going to be getting our lifeguards ready for Long Pond opening for Memorial Day weekend, and still waiting on paperwork from West Point. We're also getting counselors scheduled and ready for summer rec opening, and working with the Department of Health to get updated certificates for lifeguards and counselors. Any other information, please reach out to Aaron at our rec department, and he can answer everything you need to know. And that's it.
Thank you, thank you. Chief, you have anything?
Over the last several weeks, I've been participating with the school district in lockdown drills in the Fort Montgomery Elementary School and the high school. During my career, I have participated in multiple school districts in lockdown drills at multiple grade levels, and also several actual lockdown incidents in several different districts. I am extremely happy with the observations I've made in the Fort Montgomery Highland Falls School District with the procedures in place for lockdowns in their buildings.
Sounds good.
They're doing a very good job. The students are, I hate to say, they're good at the procedures, but the school district is doing an excellent job in the event of an incident.
That's good to hear, absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay. Now into the agenda. The dial-a-bus system safety program was approved as satisfactory and feasible by the Public Transportation Safety Board. I have a copy of their resolution, and that was good work done by our dial-a-bus department, Tiffany and Gary and the driver. Okay, across the river, I know, you know, they're closing down the power plant, nuclear power plant. And for some reason or other, they think in order to get rid of the water in the pools, that they can just dump it in the river. Well, that's causing a storm in the Hudson Valley here, and we were requested to review the situation and possibly approve a resolution against it. Whereas the town of Highlands abuts the Hudson River, and the town board understands the vital nature of the Hudson River to both its community and New York State at large. Whereas the town board has been informed that the company decommissioning the Indian Point nuclear power plant has announced its intention to release water from on-site radioactive fuel waste pools into the Hudson River. Whereas it is generally understood that the water intended to be released is heavily contaminated with carcinogens, and any contaminants within the Hudson River present a risk of entering the food chain. And whereas any contaminants in the Hudson River present a myriad of environmental, health, and safety concerns. Whereas the Hudson River also serves as a source of recreational activities and represents an economic resource that will be endangered by this reckless action. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Highlands strongly opposes the plan to release contaminated water from the Indian Point nuclear power plant into the Hudson River. Be it further resolved that the town of Highlands shall send certified copies of these resolutions to all the New York State elected officials that represent the town of Highlands. And be it further resolved that the aforesaid resolution shall take effect immediately. Do I have a motion to adopt this resolution?
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Aye.
Councilmember King?
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt?
Aye.
Councilmember Yeager?
Aye.
Supervisor Lucy?
Aye. Leslie, now I'll pass that on to you, or I think you may have a copy of it, and then we have to certify the copy and send it on to our local representatives.
Bob, can I throw something out?
Yes.
Regarding what Supervisor was talking about, because I've sat in on a couple of conference calls about Indian Point. So if you want more information, you can go to www.grassrootsinfo.org/Indian Point Forum. Riverkeeper, I don't know their site offhand. They also have a lot of information about this. And the main thing they're worried about is a little substance called tritium. And tritium is, it's like one molecule away from being water. But our bodies treat tritium like water, meaning it easily gets absorbed into your body, your organs, your brain, and also if this is released, it can, it could affect us through condensation. People that are kayak in the Hudson, and like you said, the food chain. This stuff has a half-life of 12.3 years, meaning that if they put it in a tank, or if they store it for 12 years, it gets cut in half, its radioactivity. And if I remember my information right, at that point, maybe then it could be discharged into the Hudson River, but not now. The company that's heading the dismantling of Indian Point's known for taking a lot of shortcuts. So please keep on top of it, especially, you don't have to be an environmental genius or to know that dumping radioactivity water into the river can't be doing anybody good. So thank you for doing this. This is a good thing, and hopefully other communities will be also.
I sure hope they all do.
Hope they all do it. So again, grassrootsinfo.org/Indian Point Forum if you want more information. Thanks, Mr. Supervisor.
Justin, would you like to explain the next resolution?
Sure. This issue's come up a couple times, most recently brought to the board's attention by your police chief. But in situations of mutual aid, which the general municipal law refers to as civil disturbance control, right? But generally speaking, the supervisor, as the elected head of the town, has the ability to allow for mutual aid decisions. The general municipal law allows a local law to be put in place that would designate that authority to your chief, who is practically speaking the one who is going to be in those situations and making response decisions both for his municipality and for any requesting aid. So this local law would require a public hearing scheduled for April 10th, but otherwise it's a pretty straightforward designation of the mutual aid decision-making to your chief of police or his designee.
Okay, yeah, so I have a resolution to introduce and schedule a public hearing to receive public comments concerning the enactment of a local law adding Chapter 4 entitled Civil Disturbance Control to the Code of the Town of Highlands. That public hearing would be here in the Town Hall on the 10th day of April at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion to pass the resolution, to move the resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember King,
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Aye.
Councilmember Yeager,
Aye.
Supervisor Livesey.
Aye. For the benefit of our scout and our student, Justin Ryder is our attorney. He's the town attorney. He comes to every meeting, and every once in a while I'll throw something at him that he can explain better than me, because when you talk legalese, then it gets a little bit difficult for me. But between the both of us, I can give you my legalese, and he can give you the real stuff, and we get it over to everybody. Okay, some of the programs, not all of the programs in recreation, are paid for by the participants or their families or what have you. We don't really have a great policy on the fees and in particular the discounts. And in the past, it was kind of up to the discretion of the recreation director as to what he would charge, less than the actual fee that is set by the town. There are charges that we accept with no problem at all, whereas if someone in the school is getting the lunch, I guess we'll call it a free lunch, then they can bring the paperwork from that to recreation and get either a discount or no charge on some of the programs. but I don't like the word discretion, things left up to his discretion. So the liaison to the recreation and myself are going to sit down with the suggestions from the recreation director on discounts and come up with a solid
New policy, yeah.
solid policy, yeah, that'll be in writing, and at least he can say, when Mrs. Jones says, my kid is paying this much, but Mrs. Smith's kid is paying a lot less, we don't want to be able to say it's up to the discretion of the recreation director. We want to be able to say, well, it's in our rules and regulations, and that's why. So, we'll try to get this to the town board at our next meeting and what our suggestions would be. I've already had Kelly look at it, and she's already made a whole bunch of suggestions. And kind of what brought this about, too, we were having a little problem balancing the books and recreation. And I'm not suggesting anything was wrong. It was just some of the records were not there.
It's also perception of folks too, that, you know, if one kid pays less and one doesn't, you know, is there favoritism, is it not? So this should eliminate any of that when that doesn't happen, of course, but I'm just saying it eliminates that, makes it a lot easier to
Yes,
understand,
yeah.
so.
And it takes the weight off of the recreation director's
Right.
back.
Yep.
Okay. I received a letter from Mr. Ramus. I'm writing this correspondence to inform both boards of my resignation from the Town of Highlands Consolidated Zoning Board of Appeals, effective immediately, with my last day being March the 24th, 2023, to serve on that board. It's been an honor working with the ZBA team. The experience will serve me well in my next role serving the community as village trustee. Please let me know if there's anything I can do to help whoever is appointed to my position. Thanks again for the opportunity to serve. Do I have a motion to accept the resignation?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jim, thank you very much for your service, and congratulations on your victory as I was going to say town, village trustee.
Thanks so much.
Now, along with that, we have a letter from Janine O'Brien, who was asking to be put on to the Consolidated ZBA. Please accept this letter to request consideration to be a member of the Consolidated ZBA. I understand there's an anticipated board member opening due to Jim Ramus' recent election to trustee. Let's see. And this letter is signed by Janine
O'Brien.
Janine O'Brien. You had some more or less recommendations of her, or you?
15 months ago, she applied to the Village of Highland Falls and was turned down. 14 months ago, she applied here and was turned down for whatever reasons. She's still interested, and the reason you saw the email from her daughter, she didn't have her cell phone at work today. So the letter has gone out to everybody, and if you look at my communication, you're gonna have to just bear with me on this. I likened her to Susan Lucci not winning Emmys. This is her third time trying to get on the ZBA, and she has my support.
And she also has the support of the ZBA chairman, who likes her very much. So, and any other, well, first of all, I'll ask for a motion to appoint Janine O'Brien to the Consolidated ZBA.
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
And this will be to finish up the term that Jimmy is leaving, and it'll be at the pay scale in our salary schedule. So I have a motion and a second. I'll ask for a roll call.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Aye.
Councilmember King,
Aye.
Councilmember DeWitt,
Aye.
Councilmember Yeager,
Aye.
Supervisor Lacy.
Aye.
What's the term left, Jim? How much time is left?
It's 3.5 years. I'd have to double check.
Curious.
And Richie, I'll ask you to notify her if you would, since that your liaison to the ZBA.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
And probably Jack, you ought to let him know too.
Okay.
General public comment, anybody have anything? To the young scout there, I always bring this up when we have scouts here.
Excuse me.
I am an Eagle Scout. I was an Eagle Scout in 1952.
Ooh.
I was one of the youngest in Rockland County. I was 13 years old when I became an Eagle Scout. But it almost like being a Marine, once a Marine, always a Marine. Once an Eagle Scout, you're always an Eagle Scout. And if there's anything I can help you with, let me know. Okay?
I'm so pleased to see youngsters here. You're from Suffern School System?
Yeah. Well, I'm a resident of Fort Montgomery, but I attend Suffern now.
Okay. Well, I think it's great that they send you here, and you heard us just read off something that's gonna go into a legal notice, like long before social media, which is not an official medium for a government to transmit information. The legal notices in the paper, they may be long-winded and whatnot. Take some time to read through them once in a while. You'd be pretty amazed at the things going on. And when people talk about transparency, the transparency is overwhelming if you engage it. Thank you.
Does anybody on the board have anything else?
Nope.
I'm good.
No more public comment? Thank you all. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.